Hello, and welcome to Science Research Weekly, Season 4, Episode 39. When it rains, it's aliens. Get ready for neuronal nanotubes, Comet versus Alien for Interstellar Object 3I Atlas. Rain on the Sun. The R Journal 17/2, citation metric distortion, and more new science spotlight videos. This episode covers material from October 10th to October 16th. Let's get started with some research articles. First up, intercellular communication in the brain through a dendritic nanotube network. Communication between neurons was typically thought to occur through synapses. But scientists have discovered another pathway, ultra-thin membrane bridges called nanotubes, arising from filopodia, which can transport anything from ions to mitochondria. And what's more, researchers confirmed that they can also transport disease-related molecules, like beta amyloid, hallmark of Alzheimer's. Furthermore, nanotube networks in the brains of mouse models of Alzheimer's disease were altered early in the disease, suggesting a link between nanotube alterations and Alzheimer's progression. Switching from intercellular to interstellar, we have this archive article is the Interstellar Object 3I Atlas Alien Technology. So there's a newly discovered interstellar object called 3I Atlas. It's passing through our solar system as we speak. Now, this speculative paper is really just a pedagogical exercise about whether the object is alien technology and what would it do if it was. However, a more sober analysis or announcement from NASA, while it's excited that the object is a rare opportunity to collect data on an interstellar object, it's really most likely a fast-moving comet. An extraordinarily fast-moving comet, but a comet nonetheless. All right, switching gears to this next journal, though we're going to stay in space, a little bit more grounded space. Spatiotemporal low first ionization potential abundance, a catalyst for coronal condensation. So did you know that it can rain on the sun? I didn't know that. So this phenomenon is also known as coronal rain. This rain, quote unquote, is actually cooled plasma from coronal loops that condenses and drops back towards the surface. Now, in this paper, researchers really kind of found out that spatial temporal variations in actual elemental abundance in the sun is one of the data points or models, additions to a model that actually explain and account for this phenomenon. All right. Next up, a very long article here, but it's called Tree Swallows as Indicators of Per and Polyfluoroalkyl Substance Exposure and Effects at Select Department of Defense sites along the East Coast and at sites with different sources in the upper Midwest United States. A nice, dry, informative article, but what is it telling us? Well, there's a lot of talk about forever chemicals, that is, per and polyfluoroalkyl substances, also known as PFAS. A lot of talk in the news and scientific literature about how bad they are and how they can last forever in the environment. But in this paper, researchers actually measured things like tree swallow metrics on tree swallows, like their egg and nesting survival, as well as biomarkers, and really found that there was no difference in these variables across high and low PFAS exposure. So tree swallows that are exposed to high PFAS didn't really have any worse survival rate of eggs or nestlings than ones in low PFAS. So just one study on sparrows, but it does make me wonder if some of the PFAS hubbub is overblown. All right, final article here, or more just of a news piece from Science Daily, talking about, it is a very, clickbaity title, 90% of science is lost, this new AI just found it. It really just goes over this this initiative called Fair Square Data Management. It's an AI-driven system that helps make data sets reusable, verifiable, and citable. The idea is that most data sets produced, in science, they're never shared. And even the ones that are shared, they're seldom reused. So this can help take the stuff that's sitting around unused, make it more accessible, citable, are beneficial for scientists to actually share it and push science forward. All right, let's turn to some research tools. The R Journal Volume 17.2 is now available with issues such as partition, local depth, community analysis in R, S-FIS lands and R package to common islands and disjoint zones in aerial spatial modeling, RQPen, an R package for penalized quantile regression, and MS-Mix, an R package for clustering partial rankings via mixtures of mallow models with Spearman distance. There are two new R bloggers posts. The first from Jacob Nowosad on a new work-in-progress book on spatial data visualization in R using the TMAP package. And the current version of the book is called Spatial Data Visualization with TMAP, a practical guide to thematic mapping in R. The second article is from Ilya Kashnitsky, or Sky. It's called Beyond Fraud, How IHME Distorts Academic Metrics. So IHME is the Institute for Health Metrics Evaluation, and this is a very short and kind of troubling read about how this IHME, with papers that can have regular authorship in the thousands, really distorts citation count. In fact, example is one paper had 940 names and 7,550 citations, which gave it 7.1 million citation points, which is actually more than the entire journal of demography over its entire publication history. So this idea of massive authorship on journal articles, really distorting citation count is a problem that really hasn't been considered yet. And one potential solution is like fractional citation, but that isn't mainstream or streamlined yet. All right, next up here, 4 new CRAN packages that you might find interesting. There's Desk Sup R plots, generate plots for all variables in descriptive tables, medical coder, tools for working with ICD codes and comorbidity algorithms, GenX, perform genome-wide iterative fine mapping for non-Gaussian data using GinaX, and EasyRef, easy reference generation for R packages. So no new grants for this week, so why not check out some of the newest videos in my series Science Spotlight. In the last month, I've covered deep carbon, lost branches of complex multicellular life, and chronic inflammatory response syndrome. Comments on yonder. Thanks for joining me for Science Research Weekly. Science on.